Hey everybody, it's Wednesday here in the Total Sports Ozone. And the college football playoff penultimate rankings came out last night. Got a lot to discuss about that. Who's in, who's out, who I think is going to be in, who I think is not going to be in, and who I think deserves to be in. Going to be discussing that in detail. Plus, in the NFL, got some teams that I'm going to give you my dark horse teams that I think, if with the right push, with the right whatever, could make a run to the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you three in the NFC, three in the AFC. We're going to get on all that and maybe a little bit more here in the Sports Ozone. Big old with the big mouth coming at you on a Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, here in the Total Sports Ozone. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Always drop me a comment. I will always read them. And I'm also got clips on TikTok and Instagram for you. Total Sports Ozone at Total Sports Ozone. Now, let's get into what we need to get into. And that is the penultimate college football playoff rankings, which was released last night. And here they are. At number 25, we got James Madison, JMU. Number 24 has North Texas, the Mean Green. Iowa sneaks back into the rankings at 23. Georgia Tech is at 22 after taking a loss to Georgia in their rivalry game. Houston is up to 21. You got Tulane is holding steady right around the 20 mark at number 20. Michigan slipped 4 spots to number 19. You have Arizona at 18. And now here's where it gets interesting. From 17 all the way up to 10. You got Virginia at 17. USC is still hanging around at 16. You got Utah 15. You got Vanderbilt at 14. We're gonna get into these teams right here. Vanderbilt at 14, Texas at 13, Miami at 12, BYU at 11, Notre Dame is at 10, and Alabama is at 9. That's where it gets interesting. It really does. We're gonna get into that in a minute. We got Oklahoma at number 8. You got Texas A&M slipping to number 7. So the loss to Texas didn't hurt them too bad, although it took them pretty much out of the running to get a first round bye. But they should still be able to get a home playoff game in the first round. Ole Miss actually went up a spot, despite everything that's going on with them, with the Lane Kiffin departure and everything went on into that. The committee did not punish those kids at Ole Miss. They actually moved them up to number 6. So they're in line to getting a first round home playoff game. And that's good. And I'm really happy for those kids because I've already mentioned to you how I felt about what Lane Kiffin did to Ole Miss and those kids. We don't need to even relive that because what's done is done. But I'm glad the committee did not punish those kids and actually moved them up a spot to number 6. So they're more than likely will get a first round playoff game at home. We got Oregon's coming up at number 5, Texas Tech at number 4, Georgia moved up to number 3, and then Indiana number 2, and Ohio State rounds it off at number 1. Wow, let's get into this. Here's where it gets interesting. There's like multiple ways where these rankings get really interesting. First off, Texas. We're going to have to bring up Texas. Texas, even with 3 losses, is right there on the bubble at 9-3. And they rank 13th. Now, there's been the coaching staff at Texas, Steve Sarkisian, the administrators, the fans, everybody's been campaigning for Texas and the reason why they should get into the college football playoff, even though they have 3 losses. And the big debacle was a lot of the Texas faithful, Longhorn faithful, were thinking that the committee was punishing Texas for scheduling and playing Ohio State in week 1. My feeling is this: what does that game have to do with this? You lost that game, and I know you'll be, Ohio State, we played them, Texas fans, we played them as close as anybody on their schedule, and we only lost by 7, and we outgained them by over 200 yards, and the committee is punishing us for playing that game. Really? Really? Do you honestly think the committee is punishing you for losing to the team that's been pretty much the number 1 team in the country all year? Do you really think that's why you might get left out of the college football playoff? And I'm talking to all Texas fans, coaches, everybody that has to do with the Texas Longhorns. Do you really sitting up here and expecting me to believe that is the reason Ohio State, you playing them the first week of the season, is the reason why you will be left out of the college football playoff? It's comical for any other Texas fans to believe that's why they're being left. That might be why they're being left out, because they lost to Ohio State. No. This is why you will be left out, unless there's a whole lot of chaos this weekend with the conference championships. And I mean, there better be a whole lot of chaos. You're not getting in. Why? A, you lost to Florida. If you would have lost to any other team on this list, I can feel your argument. If that third loss, you lost to Ohio State, and that's a quality loss. Number 1 team in the country. It's a quality loss. You got bombed by Georgia. I wouldn't consider that a quality loss because you got blown out by 27 points. I think it was 25 points. I wouldn't even consider that a quality loss because you got blown out. I know it was on the road. I know it was in Athens, Georgia. It was at night, la-da-dee, but still, you got bombed. You wasn't even in that game. But even with that, them being number 3 in the rankings right now, I think the committee will let you slide on that one. But you lost to Florida. Florida! Is Florida anywhere on this list? Is they anywhere close to being in the top 25? I don't think so. They went 4-8. They're not even bowl eligible. That is why the committee will probably leave you out. First off, you got 3 losses. But even with the 3 losses, that 1 loss to Florida is why you ain't getting in. You lost to a bad team. Hell, South Florida beat them. Do you see them on this list? Tennessee beat them. Do you see them on this list? Tennessee blew them out in Gainesville. Do you see Tennessee on that list? Nope. You have no argument, Texas. You can argue till the cows come home and go back out again. When you lost to Florida, that pretty much did it. You could beat you. I know you beat Vanderbilt, which is probably why which is probably why the committee put you over them. If I was on the committee, I'm not putting you over Vanderbilt because you have 3 losses. I truly believe Vanderbilt should be going in over Texas, even though Texas beat them head to head. I get that. Vanderbilt only lost 2 games. Texas lost 3. And they're thinking that because they played that Ohio State game. You know what? You wouldn't even be having this argument if you'd have beaten Ohio State, would you? Well, these games were scheduled years in advance. So I don't want to hear that shit. These games that were scheduled years in advance. This year's schedule was made back in 2019. See what I'm saying? These schedules were made anywhere from 3 to 5 years in advance. And you wouldn't even have this argument. You wouldn't have no argument to make if you went to Columbus and beaten Ohio State. Y'all probably be up there in the top 5 right now with the 2 losses. With the 2 losses, you probably would be ranked anywhere from 3 to 8. Even with those 2 losses, the loss to Georgia, the loss to Florida, if you'd beat Ohio State. But you didn't. Don't give me that we played them close crap. Don't give me that we outgained them by 200 yards crap. You lost the game. So the Ohio State reasoning is moot. Because they're the number 1 team in the country. So that will be a quality loss. Considering y'all did play them closer than any other team Ohio State has played all year. I get that. But you lost to Florida. Florida ain't nowhere near here. You lost two games to teams that are in the top 5. That's great. You beat Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. You beat a couple others. Missouri. You beat Oklahoma. Red River Shootout. Yep. You beat them. You beat A&M. Yep. But that loss to Florida was a bad one. You lost to a 4-8 squad. In my eyes, if you're supposed to be a championship caliber team, you're supposed to beat teams like Florida. In fact, you're supposed to stomp a mud hole in them and walk it dry. But you didn't. You lost. That's a bad loss. You lost you got 3 losses. One of those losses is to a team that isn't even bowl eligible. I can see if you lost to a team that was bowl eligible, you would have a little bit of a better argument. But you lost to a team that only won 4 games. And one of them was against your team. You have no argument. You're not getting in. You shouldn't get in. Why should you? Over Miami? Miami may not even get in. We'll get into that in a minute. Over Notre Dame? Hell, they may not even get in. We'll get into that in a minute. And you think you should get in? With 3 losses, 1 to a very bad team. A very bad team. A team that's not even bowl eligible. I don't want to hear the arguments to the Texas fans. I don't want to hear it. You don't deserve to get in. Which is why you're right there on the bubble. You don't deserve to get in. In my eyes, I believe Vanderbilt deserves to get in. They lost 2 games. 2 teams that are on this list. Alabama. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Texas. That's the only losses. So Vanderbilt has a stronger argument to get in over Texas, over Miami, and even Notre Dame. Vanderbilt. Yes. I believe with the Heisman Trophy candidate, possibly Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, Diego Pavia, I believe Vanderbilt deserve to get in over Texas, Miami, and Notre Dame. But like chances are they probably won't be left out. But let's go over some scenarios. We do have conference championship games this weekend. Now, everybody knows, and if you don't know, you better ask somebody. The conference that's in trouble of may not having even one team getting into the college football playoff is the ACC. They have the highest ranking ACC team is Miami, and they're not even playing for the ACC championship this weekend. They're sitting at home, and they're the highest ranking of the ACC teams. Next highest ranking team is Virginia, and then you have Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech is pretty much shot them on. They shot themselves in the foot twice, and they know it. But the highest ranking team in the ACC on the college football playoff 25 is Miami. Now, Miami has a strong case to get in because they did beat Notre Dame. They did beat Notre Dame, and they did beat one other team on this list. But they lost to Louisville. They're not on this list. They lost to SMU. They're not on this list. They're not even going to the ACC championship game. The team that's going to the ACC championship game is Virginia. And if you're an ACC enthusiast, you better hope, you better pray that Virginia wins the ACC championship over Duke. Because could you imagine if Duke beats Virginia? Duke ain't going to no college football playoff. They ain't even on this list. They are not even on this list. They have 5 losses. But because of all these conference tiebreakers and stuff and this and that and the third, they're going to be playing for the ACC championship. And if they win, who gets in the ACC? Who gets in? Virginia won't get in. Virginia's only way of getting in is if they win the ACC. If they win the ACC championship. That's their only path to getting in. And if they don't get, and if Duke wins, where's Miami? Does Miami get in with 2 conference losses? Are the committee going to put Miami in as the highest ranking ACC team, even though they didn't win the ACC championship? Will they put Miami in? That's if Duke wins. If Duke wins, I believe 2 of these teams will not be going. Will not be in if Duke wins. Duke ain't going. Duke ain't no way Duke going to the playoff. Even if they win it, they're not going. Everybody knows that. So right now, ACC's only hope is Virginia. If Virginia wins the ACC championship, I can see either them or Miami getting in. I can see either them or Miami getting in. But if Duke wins, all bets are off. You may not see one. Because then you got to worry about Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU. What if BYU upsets Texas Tech? Tech is getting in. Tech is getting in. It's just a matter of them, will they have a first round bye or will they be hosting a playoff game? Tech is getting in. Whether they win or lose this Saturday, they're getting in. But what if BYU wins? BYU wins, they got to get in, don't they? BYU wins the Big 12, they got to get in. They ranked 11th. So if BYU loses, they're done. We know that. But if BYU wins, one of these three, one, right here, here, and here. One of those teams will be out if BYU beats Texas Tech. One of them's gone. Who will it be? Mm-hmm. See, the cutoff line right here, to me, right here is here. 14. 14. This is the cutoff line. Anything below that, forget it. You can look at Virginia. If Virginia blows out Duke, they're going to be like, maybe. But I think the cutoff line is here at 14, at 15, at where Vanderbilt is, 14. That's the cutoff line to me. That's the cutoff line to me right here. Right there. That's the cutoff line. 14. Anything below that, you ain't got much chance. Of course, one of the Power 5 teams, or Group of 5, or whatever they call them, is got to get in. It's either going to be James Madison or Tulane. North Texas might get in, but I don't think the committee will look at their team and say, "Oh, who did we place them against?" And they will give them a good game. I don't know. North Texas' defense is shaky at best. If North Texas were to beat Tulane for the American Championship, would you put North Texas in? I don't know. And if you do, against who in the first round? If it's against Texas, if it's against Oregon, if it's against Ole Miss, if it's against Oklahoma, North Texas is going to be a double-digit underdog, and you really don't want to see that in the first round of the college football playoff. You don't want to see a team that everybody thinks, man, they ain't got a shot playing against one of these blue bloods and getting the brakes beat off of them, and then everybody's like, they should have never been in. So the committee is going to have to make a choice between James Madison, Tulane, and North Texas. These two, North Texas, Tulane, play for American Championship. Tulane wins, they should get in. If North Texas wins, what do we do with James Madison if they win? So one of these Group of 5's got to get in. That's the rule. Deems the rule. One of these Group of 5 teams, as long as they're ranked in the college football playoff top 25, as long as they're ranked, they win their conference and whatever, one of them got to get in. My bet would be Tulane. Tulane will probably give whoever they place, whoever the committee puts them in the bracket with in that first round. I think they give them a fight. I don't think they'll win, but I think Tulane will give them a fight. But that's what I see first round. But the cutoff for everybody else is at 14. Now, let's start from the top on down. We already know Ohio State and Indiana, 1 and 2. The winner of that, the Big Ten championship game, the winner of that game will be the 1 seed. The loser of that game, you cannot, depending on what Georgia does, or if they win, how badly they do it, if they lose, Indiana, Ohio State, whoever loses that Big Ten championship game will still get a first round bye. I don't see them dropping any further than third. If Georgia wins, that their only loss, they will have avenged their only loss of the season, and that was to Alabama. But if Georgia loses, Indiana, Ohio State, it all depends. If Ohio State wins, they stay at number 1. Indiana wins, they'll ascend to number 1. Ohio State will be no worse than 3. So we can put that to bed. These two teams have cemented first round byes. Ohio State and Indiana. They're the only teams that are still undefeated. So if one beats the other, that will be that other team's only loss. And you talking about losing to the number 1 team or the number 2 team in the country. Those two teams have cemented first round byes. Before we've even played the conference championship games, those two are getting first round byes. It just all depends on where they see. 1, 2, or 3. Georgia, if they win, they got a first round bye. If they can beat Alabama. And let's face it, Alabama has been Georgia's bugaboo over the past 5 years. Maybe a little longer than that. They've only beaten them once. Only beaten Georgia once in all these years, 5, 6 years. But when they did beat them, they won the national title. So it's not like they can't beat them. But Alabama is Georgia's bugaboo. That little thorn in the little monkey in the wrench. Yeah, that's Alabama. So who knows? Texas Tech, if they win the Big 12, they will hang on to that 4 seed. They will hang on to that 4 seed against first round bye. Oregon, Ole Miss, they pretty much have submitted first round home playoff games. Oregon, Ole Miss, just a matter of who they play. I believe A&M will probably submit a first round playoff unless Alabama, and if Alabama beat the bricks of Georgia in the SEC championship game, they're going to jump Oklahoma and possibly, I don't see why they will be jumping Oklahoma since Oklahoma beat them head to head. But if Alabama does beat Georgia and then beat them really bad, I can see them jumping Oklahoma, even though that wouldn't make no sense to me, and get a first round home playoff game. But A&M pretty much locked themselves into a home playoff game. Oklahoma, Alabama, it all depends. I believe it all depends on who wins that SEC championship game and by how badly, how much. Notre Dame, who knows? Their only good win was against USC. I know they got 2 early losses. Why are they in front of Miami? Who knows? Why are they in front of Miami even though Miami beat them head to head? Who the hell knows? Personally, I think Notre Dame should be 12. They've been playing lights out. They've won 10 in a row since they lost to A&M. They won 10 in a row and they've looked real good doing it. I mean, I believe Jeremiah Love should be invited to New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation. He has been that good. But who have they beaten? Pitt, Syracuse, a mediocre USC team. It's not like they've been beating world beaters. I mean, they haven't like beaten the creme de la creme of the college football world. They've been beating pretty much some bums. But they have won those games and by pretty lopsided scores too. I still think Miami should be 10th or 11th. I think BYU should be 10th. Miami should be 11th. Notre Dame should be 12th. I believe. But the committee is they will be so hard. They are so gung-ho on getting Notre Dame into the playoff. So that's why they snuck them at 10. That's exactly why they snuck them at 10. The committee is so gung-ho. And I mean gung-ho on getting Notre Dame into the playoff. Despite whatever. But for Notre Dame to get in the playoff, they better pray. They better pray Texas Tech beat BYU. If Texas Tech beats BYU, that knocks BYU out of it, and it'll all but guarantee Notre Dame get a spot. Even though I think of all the teams from 10 to 14 that deserves to get in, I believe it's all of them. I believe it's Vanderbilt. I truly believe Vanderbilt, of all the teams ranked 10 to 14, Vanderbilt should get in. I don't think Vanderbilt will be getting in, but I personally think Vanderbilt should get in. They only have 2 losses. They're quality losses. They've beaten everybody else. And they also beaten their rival. Not only did they beat them, they blew them out in Tennessee. They punked and bullied Tennessee in Tennessee, made them look bad. Vanderbilt, to me, is one of those teams that are trending up, and they deserve a shot at the college football playoffs to see what they can do. But it looks like Vanderbilt probably will be one of the first two or three teams I left out, and that'll relegate Vanderbilt to probably one of the New Year's Day bowl game, like the Citrus Bowl or something to that effect. And that's a shame because they had probably the best year I've seen them ever have. That's for sure. But from 10 to 14, to me, Vanderbilt deserves to get in. Texas don't deserve to get in. Miami, if Notre Dame get in, Miami should get in. But it's not going to work out. One of those two teams is not getting in. Miami, Notre Dame, one of those two not getting in. Face it, Miami fans, Notre Dame fans, right now, I know y'all doing this. Bite them fingernails. Crossing fingers. And Notre Dame, you're probably praying to the touchdown Jesus. And you should. Because how things shake out this weekend is going to determine whether you get it or not. I don't know. I have no idea. Now, Big O with the Big Mouse Total Sports goes on. Now, let's look at the bracket. We're gonna change it up. We're gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what the bracket will look like. Yep. Let me see if I can pull it up. Look at that picture. Oh, I'm gonna show you what the bracket looks like right now. And that's what the bracket looks like right now. As you can see, number 11 and number 12 are designated for conference championship. Probably the ACC if Virginia wins, or the 12th seed would probably go to either Tulane, James Madison, or North Texas. And look who they will be probably playing. Oregon. If everything shakes out the way they got it right now. They will be probably playing Oregon. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're gonna put North Texas in against Oregon, that wouldn't look good against North Texas. In Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon, you would think North Texas would be anywhere from a 15 to a 25-point underdog. So would that look good for the committee to be putting North Texas, whose defense is at best wishy-washy, against Oregon? What about the 11th seed going to Ole Miss? Could Virginia beat Ole Miss on the road? I don't know. What about BYU? With BYU, if they get in, if BYU wins the Big 12, would they be going on the road to play Ole Miss? Probably. Which means, like I said, Notre Dame is hanging on there at the 10th seed. Would they stay in, or would they put Miami in? What about Duke? What if Duke beats Virginia? Do you put Miami in as the highest ranking ACC team? And where would you slot them? Number 10? I don't think they deserve to be that high. I don't. They've had a good season, but yeah, they still lost. They lost to two teams that aren't even in the top 25 right now, SMU and Louisville. So how will that shake out? But that's the bracket as of last night. We still got a lot of questions to answer, don't we? So what do you think? Who should play Ole Miss if Ole Miss stays at 6, Oregon stays at 5? You can't see neither one of those teams moving because they're not playing this weekend. So, who do you think should be playing Ole Miss in Oxford. Who do you think should be playing Oregon and Eugene, depending on how these conference championships shake out this weekend? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe, but let me know. What do you think? We could be in for some chaos this weekend. The ACC championship game, the Big 12 championship game. Those two championship games are going to shake up and fully make the college football final playoff rankings crazy. They have the potential to do that. It's going to be fun to watch. Remember, I believe the final pairings for the college football playoff will be revealed Sunday, I believe at 12:30 Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. I know they want to get them in before the NFL, the NFL early window games on Sunday. So I believe it's either noon or 12:30. I will check that target date, and I will let you know tomorrow when you probably find out before I will, but I will announce it anyway tomorrow when the final college football playoff bracket will be revealed on Sunday. All right, Big O with the big mouth, Total Sports on. Now let's shift to the NFL. Like I said, got some I'm gonna give you 3 dark horse teams in both conferences, the AFC and the NFC, who I think with the right push, with the right, the stars align the right way for them, could make a run to the Super Bowl. Could really make a run to the Super Bowl. We're going to start with the AFC. Right? Right now, New England leads the AFC East. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are tied in the AFC North. Jacksonville and Indianapolis are tied in the AFC South. And Denver leads the AFC West. 3 dark horse candidates. My 3 dark horse candidates to make not just a playoff run, but run all the way to the Super Bowl. In the AFC, I'm going to go with Jacksonville. Jacksonville is one of my teams. They're figuring it out, ladies and gentlemen. Trevor Lawrence, ETN, that defense is really is coming to its own. And they're picking up big wins. They've won 3 in a row. Their defense has been opportunistic. I like the way Trevor Lawrence is now just becoming a manager. It's not all on him to win the game. All he got to do is not lose the game. I think he's settling into that role quite well. And that's why Jacksonville caught the Colts and is now tied, or actually has the lead on tiebreakers in the AFC South. So they're one of my dark horse candidates to go to the Super Bowl. When you're just talking about playoffs, go all the way to the Super Bowl. Jacksonville is one. My other dark horse candidate in the AFC East, AFC, is the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, I know Justin Herbert hurt his left hand, had surgery on a bone and broken bone in the left hand. That's the left hand. And that's one tough son of a bitch. He says yesterday that he's going to play. Even after they do the surgery, he's going to go out there and play this Sunday. That's a tough. That's a quarterback. That's a quarterback. I'm pretty sure every team would love to have one that's tough. Banged up a little bit, don't matter. Long as I can throw, I'm out here. I'm going out here. I'm going to be out here and try to win these games with my teammates. That's a tough quarterback. Plus, they got Keenan Allen. That defense is... It could be better. The defense could be better. But I think if the Chargers get on the right roll offensively, they can beat anybody in the NFC. That's right. I truly believe that. That's my second dark horse candidate in the AFC. And my last dark horse candidate in the AFC. We're talking about can go all the way to the Super Bowl. if they get on the right run. My second dark horse, my third and last dark horse candidate is the Houston Texans. Yes, sir, the Houston Texans. I know offensively they're just getting it right with CJ Stroud and then those boys. But they got one of the best defense, if not the best defense in all of the National Football League. They just shut down the Indianapolis Colts, a very high-powered offense, and they shut them down in Indianapolis. That defense is no joke. They're opportunistic. They create takeaways. They can get after the quarterback. They don't let too many teams run on them. Jonathan Taylor had a hell of a time running on that boy Sunday, and I have to say, if Houston can tweak a few things offensively and get some players healthy on offense with that defense, then you know what they say: defense travels. Defense travels. It does. That's one thing. If you got a good defense, it's gonna carry you. It can go wherever you go. And Houston has a great defense. They do. You have to admit that. So I would not be surprised one bit if the Houston Texans go all the way to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't shock me in a bit. So, because you have to respect that defense. And the only thing they would need to do, the only thing that right now I think they need to do offensively, run the ball better. They need to run the ball better because we all know in the playoffs, we're playing playoffs in December and January. It's cold. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to tote that rock in the playoffs. To keep the other team's offense off the field. Move the chain, keep the clock running, especially when you have the lead. So that's the only thing I see Houston needs to do is be able to run the ball better. Other with that defense, I wouldn't want to play them if they make the playoffs. I know I wouldn't, especially in January. Oh, in the cold. Not that defense. Mm-mm. So those are my three dark horses in the AFC. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Houston Texans. That's my AFC three dark horses. In the NFC, one of my dark horses, I'm going to just flat out say it, Dallas Cowboys. Right now, they've been playing better than not too many teams have been playing better than them in the NFC over the past 3 weeks, over the past so many weeks. The defense has gone from hot garbage to just below average, I would say. And that's what they need. That's all they need, I think. As long as that offense stays healthy and keeps doing what it do, they can run the ball, and that CD, George Pickens, Ferguson, that offense is dynamic. It shows. They can put up points with anybody against anybody's defense if they stay healthy. And they've shown that. They've done it. And now that they made the changes on the defense, defense getting some players back. They got that Queen Williams from the trade deadline from the Jets. They're getting Logan Wilson back. They got him back. That defense, I'm not gonna say it's a world beater or elite, but I'll say, like I said, it's slightly below average. And that's a lot better than they were earlier this year when they were just flat out hot garbage. And I've been saying it, and I'll say it again. If their defense can be just where they're at right now, slightly below average, with that offense, I wouldn't want to play that team in the playoffs. Not that offense. Oh, no. And the defense, if the defense continues to improve, I definitely wouldn't want to play the Dallas Cowboys. They got too much firepower on offense. You can't double team Pickens and CeeDee Lamb at the same time. So what you gonna do? Who you gonna double team? And if you do tend to try to shadow those two, you forgot about that tight end over the middle. He ain't no slouch. So, like I said, that and the Cowboys offense can be a problem to any team in the NFC playoffs. So I got to put the Cowboys as one of my dark horses. I know their chances of making the playoff are really, really slim right now. But like I said, they play Detroit tomorrow night. And then they got the Vikings, the Chargers, the Giants, and the Commanders. All four of those games are winnable. So they can get by Detroit tomorrow. They can win the rest. They can win out, and I don't know if they will steal the division, but they can still a wild card spot. Because all the remaining games on their schedule, if they can get by Detroit, the remaining games are winnable. All of them. They're all winnable games. So I have to put the Cowboys as my dark horse in the NFC. That's one of them. My number 2 dark horse team in the NFC is the Carolina Panthers. Hey, they picked off the best team in the NFC in the Rams. They picked them off with defense, making timely with the pick six, and they are harassing. They harassed Stafford pretty much most of the game, and Bryce Young is coming into his own a little bit. I mean, he's slinging that ball downfield. I didn't know he had it in him, but he does. He's gotten better. He's improved. He's definitely improved over the last 2 years. And that's all I was saying about Bryce Young. All he needs is A, somebody to throw the ball to, and B, calm down. He just needs to calm down. Let the game come to him. And he's been doing that lately. And they've been picking off teams. They beat the Packers in Green Bay. Just beat the Rams. This team could be a problem. They get into the playoffs. So they're my second dark horse team in the NFC. My third and final dark horse in the NFC will be, I'm going to go out there and limb and say it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Hey, somebody in the West got to win. But the 49ers ain't no joke, and they're starting to get healthy. I know they lost Fred Carter and a couple others on defense, but that defense, it's starting to round into shape. And with Kittle and McCaffrey and Brock Purdy, this team is no joke. They're 9-4. They're no joke. 9-4 puts them third in the NFC West, if you would believe. But they're my dark horse because I believe they've already got a win over the Rams. They already got a win over the Seattle Seahawks. So it's not like the rest of the teams in their division scare them. They've already beaten them. So it's not like it. They're 4-1 in the division. So it's not like they're scared of any of the teams in front of them in the NFC West. But with Purdy coming back in the offense and they're getting healthier on defense, you better watch out for the 49ers. They can be a very scary out in the NFC playoffs. They're not going to be that easy old cakewalk. I don't think any team other than the Cardinals in the NFC West is going to be a cakewalk. You have to play them in the playoffs. No. Seattle, please. The Rams, the 49ers. I believe the NFC West is easily the best division in football. NFC West. Easily. The best division in football. We got 3 teams with 9 wins. You got 3 teams winning, but my dark horse will be the 49ers. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if they ride a wave and take it all the way to the Super Bowl. So those are my 3 teams in the NFC that I believe have a really good chance if with the right, like I said, with the stars lining the right way. Any one of those three teams can ride that wave all the way to the Super Bowl. The Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think? Do you got a dark horse team that you think with the right push could make it all the way to the Super Bowl? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Big O with the big mouth, Total Sports Ozone. I'm going to wrap up today's show by talking about Chris Paul. NBA. Chris Paul. He was let go last night, basically sent home by his current team, the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, you're talking about Chris Paul. He's a top NBA top 75 player. He's one of the best point guards ever to play this game. 12-time NBA All-Star. Led the league in assists 4 times. He may not be the biggest scorer as far as point guards, but he was a leader in every sense of the word on every team he played. He was a leader. I do not understand why the Clippers management, ownership management would treat a future first ballot Hall of Famer like this. I don't know why they would do that. I wish I knew what was going on, why they would do that, but it's horrible. Just send him home, saying you're no longer with the team. Why the hell did you sign him? Oh, I think personally, Chris Paul should go to the Thunder. You know, he should go to a team. If there's any one player right now in the NBA, any one player, old guy, young guy, whatever. If there's any one player currently in the NBA that deserves to win an NBA championship, it is Chris Paul. No doubt, no one can say different. That man deserves to leave the NBA a champion. He's been in the NBA Finals once in his who's he been in 18, 19-year career. He's only been in the finals once. He deserves to walk out, leave the NBA with a ring. So I think I know I've already heard about the fact that this will be his last NBA season. He will retire at the end of this season. But why not? I think somebody should pick him up. One of these NBA, the Thunder 20-1. They've won 13 in a row. 21 in a run, right? I think. They won 13 in a row. I say, why not let him play for the Thunder again? That would be his best chance to be able to get a ring. I don't care if they send him on the end of the bench, but who knows? He can help the Thunder if they need any help, but he'd be a great backup to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think so, but he deserves to win an NBA championship. He deserves to leave this league and this game a champion. I don't think there's no doubt about that. But the way the Clippers have done him, and then we wonder why the Clippers suck. And that's why. That's why. How they do their personnel. That's why they just, no. No. And you definitely shouldn't have done Chris Paul that way. If you're going to do that, why'd you sign him? But this is what I think. This is just my personal opinion. Chris Paul needs to go to a team that's an NBA championship contender. And I say, why not go to the Thunder for the league minimum? He deserves to win a ring. No doubt about it. You never heard too many bad things. I haven't heard anything bad about Chris Paul. Not one damn thing. And he's been in the league, since 2000, 4 or 5, something like that. 2005, 2006, when he started with the who was in the New Orleans Hornets or Charlotte Hornets, whatever they wanted to call themselves. You haven't heard nothing bad about him. Man's been as steady as a rock. You don't hear nothing bad about him. And off the court, he's been charitable. He's one of the best point guards ever to play the game. And that no one can dispute that. And the only thing he has not done in the NBA is win a ring. And he deserves one. So OKC Thunder, I know you're 21 and 1. You really good with your personnel, but you might want to think about it. You might want to sign them for the rest of the season. Become a mentor to these young cats. I don't know they need too much mentoring, but they could use a little bit. And he would be a great backup to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm just saying. The man deserves to go out a winner. That's all I'm saying about that. What do you think? Let me know. Hit me up. Leave me a comment. And that'll do it for the big old with the big mouth in the Total Sports Ozone for December 3rd, 2025. Tomorrow, we're going to get into these playoffs, college football playoffs, a little bit more as we get closer and closer to the conference championship games and the final reveal, which is Sunday. And tomorrow we'll preview a very big game in the NFL or Thursday night. The Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Detroit. That's going to be a good one. We're going to look at that matchup and see who I think going to come out on top of that one. We're going to do that tomorrow right here in the Total Sports Ozone. Check you later.